Hi, I'm Nick Maselli. At TD Bank, we believe all citizens need to be informed about the important financial issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by TD Bank, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. RWJ Barnabas Health, the Fidelco Group, the North Ward Center, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, and by Verizon. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No. People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
Such a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are on the beautiful campus of NJIT at the Wise Theater. We're in the Wise Theater?
At Jim Wise Theater.
And we are pleased to kick off our round of great programming once again with Dr. Joel Bloom, president of the New Jersey Institute of Technology. How are you doing, Mr. President?
I am doing great. Thank you. Thank you.
You haven't thrown us out yet.
Well, you pay your bills. You leave at the 11 o'clock a.m. hour. So. Yeah.
Oh, man. Tell folks some of the really great things going on here at NJIT, because it's a big part, not just of the city of Newark, but of the state and the region.
Well, I think the beauty of NJIT and our distinctively unique qualifications, we are the STEM university of the state of New Jersey, where it's Polytechnic University. And as you look around the state and the nation, the opportunities in science and technology, the research opportunities, the educational opportunities, and the economic development opportunities are massive. So we're riding a bit of a wave, a crest of the wave, when you can pick up popular magazines that are popular on news racks, and you see articles about STEM careers, and all of the technology that's behind STEM. We know the time has somewhat arrived.
Science, technology, engineering, and?
Mathematics.
One really interesting thing is we came onto the campus here today. We've been taping here for several years and interviewing all sorts of fascinating folks in and around this community at NJIT. But the Wellness Center, which is, the technical name is?
It's the WEC, the Wellness and Events Center.
Scheduled to open in September 2017. You begin to see some of the construction happening. Describe what it's going to be.
So it's 200,000 square feet. And it's the genesis of, one, we've outgrown the existing facility, the gym. It opened when we had 4,000 students. Today we are at about 11,500 students. So we need more space. The whole idea of wellness and how you deal with wellness for your students, staff, and faculty, I think is very, very important. And then as we continue to grow, our Newark College of Engineering, our College of Architecture and Design, and our Yingwu College of Computing Sciences, those three are about the largest in the greater metropolitan area. That attracts people who want to come here for not only education, but training, professional meetings, conferences. And right now on this campus, the largest facility we have is 1,000 seats. In the event center, that part of the Wellness and Event Center, it'll open with seating for 4,500 people for professional meetings and conferences. Very important for this university, very important for the city of Newark.
Dr. Bloom and I were having an offline conversation a while back, talking about healthcare, talking about technology in healthcare. And this institution is playing an important role with different hospitals and healthcare organizations in this region as it relates to healthcare statistics. Talk about that.
So it all started now, all the way back in the ARA funding era of the current federal national administration, where I don't have my iPhone with me, so it didn't ring here on stage, but you would be able to document your exams, your medications, what's on your iPhone. And you won't necessarily understand what's all on that record. You're not expected to. You're not a medical practitioner. But at least you would be able to, if you traveled from your doctor's office to a specialist, to a hospital, to an emergency care unit, it's there. What tests have you taken? What medications have you taken?
What does that have to do with NJIT?
Because it's IT. We are the kings of IT. It's all information technology. It's software and it's hardware, and today it's in your smartphones, regardless of what brand smartphone. So, think about it. If somebody said to you, when was the last time you had X exam? You have no recall. But if it's on your smartphone, you merely go in and you now can tell the next medical practitioner or what medications you are on, or when was your last medical visit. So we have an aging population. We're all going to live a bit longer. We have a much more active population in many ways. So not only does your smartphone tell you all of that, most smartphones will also tell you how many steps did you walk today, how many miles have you covered, what's your heart rate. So technology is the intrusive piece of what's happening in healthcare today. And we happen to be a technology IT campus, so we're playing a major role. Electronic medical records, the telecommunications piece. We're now beginning to work. We got a almost $50 million grant from Health and Human Services to start federal money to start connecting the 60 hospitals in the state of New Jersey. Why do you want to connect them? One, if you move from hospital to hospital. Two, you begin to identify best practices. Three, as they profile me, a patient, you're building a database having to do with both health and illness. And now researchers can come in through all proper channels, of course, and they've got a massive database to work with.
Joe, we've had this conversation every time we sit down and talk to you, but it evolves, obviously, because development downtown, development in the city is evolving. Talk to folks who may have not caught some of those conversations, the role of an institution of higher learning in the economic development of a city, in particular this city.
So this past year, we said, we have economic development as a mission element, one of our 4 mission elements. What's the dollar impact of that? We looked at it, we had this done independent of the university. We looked at it statewide. It was $1.74 billion statewide for the state of New Jersey. That's the economic impact of what goes on here at this university, and as it fans out. Something like a quarter of the engineers in the state of New Jersey, fairly well-paid people, are a product of this university. That's economic impact. Our incubators, our 90 incubator companies, economic impact. Students doing 40,000 hours a year in community service to 260 nonprofit organizations, mostly in the city, but around the state. Economic impact, the spending power, $380 million in construction now. Within the city, it then that 1.74 breaks down to about $650 million. Some 4,500 employees that we create here in the city of Newark. We'll have about 1,000 jobs here on the various construction that's ongoing. We pay taxes.
Joe, is that part of the Innovation Institute as well?
Yeah, that includes the Innovation Institute.
Which is a subsidiary?
It's a subsidiary of NJIT. It was created to make any business, any industry, have easy access to NJIT resources, facilities, equipment, expertise, but it's also become a bit of a platform for work here in the state of New Jersey. You may have, we just submitted a very, very significant grant. It's called IMMI. It's part of a national initiative to improve manufacturing in this country. This manufacturing that we are competing for, we are one of 2 states competing for this, will ultimately be $70 million over a 4-year period if we win, from the federal government, and we are matching it with about 40 biotech, medtech companies, pharma companies, mostly here in the state, with another 70 million. And that's just to innovate and improve manufacturing of bio and pharma products.
People think that an institution of higher learning just teaches, just does research, which is a lot more than that going on. New Jersey Institute of Technology president is Dr. Joel Bloom. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being our partner and allowing us to shoot our programming here. And also, full disclosure, Joel is a member of the Board of Trustees at the Caucus Educational Corporation, our parent. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be back from the Jim Wise Theater at NJIT right after this.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are thrilled to welcome our good friend Rodney Gilbert, founder and executive director of an organization called Yendor Arts. How you doing?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
Doing great. By the way, talk about what Yendor Arts is.
Yendor Arts was created to serve underserved populations and artists who kind of their voices weren't heard. I had worked for major arts institutions along the East Coast and decided I wanted to form something that kind of served Newark area, the area here, so that the kids would get to see me on a continual basis working on arts.
To disclose, Rodney works, excuse me, in cooperation with our Stand and Deliver Youth Leadership Development Program. You've made such a difference with the young men and women in our program. Why do you believe, Rodney, arts education is so, and the arts is so important for young men and women in the city?
Well, I believe we all have a niche. You know, some people are athletes, some people are high scholars, and then I think some people are artists. Or the arts can be a way where you find your voice, or you are allowed to take the discipline of the art form and apply it to your academics or apply it to your life skills. So that's been my experience over the last 20 some odd years with youth, that either they have a true artistic calling or they're looking for another way to discipline themselves. And the arts and public speaking has always been a way for you to formalize that.
Beyond public speaking, and that's what we focus on, and Ronnie's been so helpful in that way, murals. We're social murals, this mural initiative. Mm-hmm. Talk about it as we look at it.
It initially started as as a gateway entry into Newark for people to see the city as a beautified place. This is one of our actual latest murals for 350th.
350th anniversary.
350th anniversary of Newark at Newark School of the Arts, which is almost at its 50th.
Who did that?
Benchmark. An artist, Sterling Brown, and another artist, Malcolm Rowlands, worked on this piece there. 4 stories. Wonderful piece, wonderful piece.
Pick up the next one, because I'm going to ask you a personal question.
This is the latest piece that got a New York Times mention. This is in partnership with the Lincoln Park Coast Cultural District, and this is about culture and how it bubbles up by a local artist who's a graffiti artist, Turf Wars, Oscar Cruz. Fantastic artist, lives in the North Ward, is raising his children here.
My old stomping grounds.
Yep, raising his children.
Turf Wars.
Yes.
All right, how about this one?
And this is Andrew Priskane. This is on Clinton Avenue, part of the
South Ward of Newark.
Yeah, the Model Neighborhood Initiative.
Right.
So the children can come out and, go over to the mural and ask questions.
What's that?
Oh, my Rutgers volunteers and Steve Green, the artist of the My Brother's Keeper mural, which is an abandoned lot on Hawthorne and Chadwick. Yep, that's that mural that they created with a mural class that I teach at Rutgers, Newark.
When did the arts touch your life?
Ooh, I knew I wanted to be an actor at 5, and I started working professionally as an actor at 10. So I've been blessed to work in the arts for 39 years, a true blessing. But it was so I based my programs on it. It was my calling,
How do you know?
I think through fantasy, daydreaming, I knew that I wanted to kind of place that in what I saw in movies. And then because there was TUI at Symphony Hall when I was a kid, so I saw a play. I knew that I wanted to do that. It took me a minute to articulate that to my mom. And there was an audition, and I said I wanted to audition. She was like, for a play? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, can you act? And I said, yeah, I can act. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. So that helped to shape me. And it was a discipline from theater that I use for my academics, for my life skills, to kind of keep myself on a path towards excellence.
Is that right?
Yeah, with the help of my parents and my grandma.
You say they're not just the arts.
No, they're not just the arts.
What are they?
The arts are a healer. They're a motivator. I think it's a way to have conversations and define who you are. I don't think you have a full life if you don't have art. You know, if you think of a world without art, what do we have? We wouldn't be in these chairs. We wouldn't be in the building. We wouldn't have the suits and the shoes we have. Those are all designed. You know, they're all artistic. And then it's the thing to express who you are. You know, total sum is mind, body, voice, soul. You know, that's how we communicate. That's what I love about Stand and Deliver.
Well, you know, speaking of Stand and Deliver, what always fascinates me about our program, and it makes me curious about you, because you grew up in the city, you know the city. I grew up in the city and do not live here anymore, but my work is here. As the tension mounts, and is what it is, between disproportionately young men of color and men of color and law enforcement professionals. Do the arts have any role here?
Absolutely.
How so?
It's in conversation. Conversation is art. You know, I could say, you know, I want to engage you, but I can say it in 5 different ways. It's about my tonality, you know, it's about my intent, it's about the rate of it. And I believe the heart comes in everything. You know, what's the emotional context of what I'm saying?
Conversation art form?
Absolutely.
Conversation is an art form.
Conversation
Someone
is
says
an
we're
art
just
form.
talking.
Well, we're just talking, but we could have a difference of opinion. I want Steve to understand me, so I might need to slow that art form down just a little bit, or, you know, use tactics that I know are going to get you to hear me, you know, even in a pause.
How is that relevant when you're dealing with such volatile, tension-filled, difficult situations, dealing like police, minority young men where trust is not there very often?
Well, I mean...
where's the art?
The art, first of all, I believe people need to express themselves. If I'm in pain, I'm going to let that pain out. And I think that's what young people are doing. I think that's what people of color are doing. We're screaming, we're ranting, we're raving in certain areas, and you need it. I need to be able to get that out so that it doesn't become internal and, you know, turn inward on me and on my community. I need a place to allow that out. If there's an injustice, my voice, you know, shouldn't be silenced.
In a productive way.
In a productive way.
In a meaningful way.
Hopefully in a meaningful way, productive, as long as we give the parameters in which to do that. Sometimes you got to step outside of parameters. But then after you get past that part, then we start going, okay, what actions can we take? And adults, you know, hopefully can sit down and start to find some justice where there is no justice.
Art has a place.
Art has a place.
Rodney Gilbert.
Yes.
Our friend, who is the founder and executive director of Yendor Arts, who helps the young men and women in our Stand and Deliver program. Thank you for what you do every day.
Thank you, Steve.
You make a difference. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this. Thank you, Rodney.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
For decades, children had no idea that there was a river in the community. The senior citizens knew there was a river because they swam in it. Riverfront Park is a brand new park running right along the Passaic River. It is the first time in decades that the community has been able to access the river and the waterfront for recreational uses. It has a boardwalk, beautiful orange color, walking paths that people can go on with baby carriages and skateboards and bikes.
There's a great story behind that, and the gentleman you're seeing on camera is going to tell you. He's Anthony Cucchi, and he's the New Jersey State Director of the Trust for Public Land. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm well, Steve, thanks.
Tell folks what we were just looking at.
Well, Newark Riverfront Park is one of more than a dozen public park projects that the Trust for Public Land has helped to create in Newark, and what you saw there was just the first phase of a much larger riverfront-wide greenway that the city of Newark is in the process of developing.
Now, again, that was along what river?
The Passaic River, the river on which the city of Newark was founded way back when in the 1600s.
Really back in the day.
Exactly.
People thought that wouldn't happen, and it looks like that.
It's amazing. Many people said it wouldn't happen, but there have been dreams for many decades to establish a new greenway and to convert what was an industrial contaminated riverfront into an amenity for the people of Newark. And so that work is now happening.
And describe what's there for people.
Well, the first phase of Newark Riverfront Park, about 3.5 acres, is developed, led by the Trust for Public Land. It encompasses about 3 acres of land, and it's the first phase of a much larger 20-plus acre park system that is under design and development now.
And so what is the Horizon Wellness Trail?
Well, interestingly, Steve, the need for park space in Newark and cities across the country really is to accomplish many community benefits. From on the one hand, Newark Riverfront Park, there's an economic development component to it. So as the riverfront is converted from a contaminated, underutilized brownfield into green space, it's enhancing the downtown Newark for businesses. And so the city's really excited about the economic development component of it. But equally important is the health benefits of park space. There's an obesity epidemic. There are many other diseases associated with inactivity, particularly acute in cities and underserved communities. And so one way to address that is through the creation of parks that promote physical activity. And so thanks to support from the Horizon Foundation, the Healthcare Foundation for New Jersey, Prudential, other private funders, PSEG, a long list of corporate and philanthropic institutions that understand the health benefits of parks. There's public and private investment that's allowing for parks to be designed and built in ways that will promote that activity.
It's curious. I often think about this. The role of parks in cities, incredibly important. Right, talk about that.
Without a doubt. And one of the great benefits of Newark as a historical city is the fact that back in the 1600s, it was initially developed with parks in mind. Interestingly, Newark has 2 of the oldest city parks in the country.
Branchbrook?
No, Military Park and Washington
Park.
Park.
Not Branchbrook?
The 2 of the 3 oldest parks in the country. And along with that, Essex County Park System is the oldest county park system in the country. And so there's a long history of parks in Newark. And thanks to the city government and those private institutions that I mentioned and the Trust for Public Land and many other partners, there's renewed investment that's now happening to improve many of the existing parks that exist across the city and to create new parks like Newark Riverfront Park.
What does it do for the quality of life in a city? I mean, we're literally over at NJIT, and where you're talking about is just a few blocks away from here, close to the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, where we also shoot programming, close to our partners at the public television station, NJTV in the state. All this activity happening, multiple universities and colleges. But the idea of this riverfront being developed, what could it actually mean for this city?
Well, it's whether it's Newark Riverfront Park or some of the other city parks that we've worked to develop in the Central Ward, like Nat Turner Park or Jesse Allen Park, the power of parks is not just in how they're designed and built, but the opportunity there is for community civic engagement. And so many of the communities where these parks are built are places where the public has been somewhat disenfranchised and doesn't have the opportunity to feel as though they have a say in their neighborhood and their neighborhood's future. And so the way we go about designing and building our parks, our city parks in cities across the country, including Newark, is through what we call a community or participatory design process.
What does that really mean?
And so that includes stakeholder involvement, where the Trust for Public Land may have the expertise to design and build these parks, but we don't know what the community wants to see.
Does that also involve schools, parks, parks where a school is there and a park's not there, and you need the community involved?
Absolutely. So there are a number of neighborhoods in the city of Newark where there isn't an existing park within easy walking distance of residential areas, and yet there's a broadly distributed school system, obviously, in the city. And so those schoolyards that are typically just asphalt lots that serve as the only outdoor recess space, but also the only parking lots for the faculty.
We'll keep talking off there. Anthony, keep doing what you're doing. It's important for the city and cities across this nation. Thank you, Anthony.
Great.
Good stuff.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by TD Bank, PSE&G, RWJ Barnabas Health, the Fidelco Group, the North Ward Center, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been produced in cooperation with FiOS One News.
New Jersey is a leader in solar power, and PSE&G is doing its part. With 24 solar installations in New Jersey, projects that are giving landfills new purpose and turning former brownfields green. Solar powers more than our homes and schools and businesses. It powers our economy by creating jobs right here in the Garden State. PSE&G, proud to support New Jersey.